You are inspiring people the world over. Just a little statistics about sickle cell, and I'll ask you. There's a million people affected globally, over a million people affected with sickle cell disease globally, over 100,000 in the United States, and 90% of those patients are Black. Um, Victoria, tell us about like what your childhood experience or what you understood that to be when you were diagnosed. How did that all come about in your life?
Well, I was diagnosed at 3 months old. Um,
Mm,
yes, mom took me to the hospital, thinking that my pain was coming from my dislocated shoulders after birth. But when she went there, that's when she found out that I had sickle cell disease. I was in my first crisis, and the doctors also told her I wouldn't live to see past 7 years old. So she received a crushing blow. And my childhood just pretty much resembled that night. I have a few days of feeling what was then normal to me, going to school, playing. But I remember some days I'm excited to leave school. This is Head Start, pre K, what people call it now. So that would put me at the age of 4, ready to go outside, meet my best friend, and play. Um, as a requirement by grandma, I had to change clothes. But while I'm doing that, I get this lightning type pain shoot down one of my arms, and then it goes across my chest, down my other arm, and then my entire body was completely covered in pain. I fell to the floor. I was crying. And my grandma, she rushed getting the Tylenol threes and the hot towels, what
mm,
doctors said would work, what to do when I was in crisis. But that still didn't work. She was praying, but I had to go to the hospital and stayed there over a week getting morphine, and I received a blood transfusion, IV fluids, but that entire week was filled with pain.
So, for those who may not be as familiar with sickle cell disease, sickle cell is a genetic defect that misshapes the red blood cells, which makes them sticky, sickle shaped, and hard. And the purpose of the red blood cells is to carry oxygen, and they're not able to carry oxygen, and that's how it leads to like vaso-occlusive events. Can you just kind of describe like what that is for people who may not know or be familiar with the disease itself?
Vaso-occlusive events.
Yes.
Okay, it's when those cells begin to sickle and become sticky and they block off blood flow, and
Okay.
also they can't carry oxygen to the muscles and organs that need it. So the result of that is extreme pain, a pain that can't be put on that 1 to 10 scale that you see at the hospital.
Hmm.
It's on a scale of 100. Is a pain so severe that I thought my heart would stop from it. It was like getting hit by a truck, struck by lightning at the same time. Everything hurts. It's hard to breathe, and no amount of rubbing, icy hot, and a lot of times morphine and Dilaudid won't stop that level of pain.
The doctor said, 7 years old. Obviously, you beat those odds. And from what you described, like you were otherwise a normal kid, like you had the same goals and aspirations and dreams that other kids. How did this like hamper your experiences growing up as a child and in your teen years?
It limited my childhood. I couldn't stay outside and play for long periods of time. I had to take breaks because the heat and exhaustion could send me into crisis. My dreams of wanting to be on the cheerleading team in
Mm.
elementary, my doctor said I couldn't do that. Going into high school, wanted to be on the basketball team because of my height, and I just wanted to explore. My family loves sports, but that's another thing I couldn't do. Going on to graduate in high school, signed up for the United States Navy, getting ready to leave, and then I get that call. I don't qualify because I have sickle cell disease. Um, wanted to join college to become a doctor. but the curriculum and the amount of time it would take and the stress from studying and clinicals. So I was warned not to do that. So I tried nursing. But while I was pursuing nursing, that's when I had one of the worst crises of my life. And it took away my ability to walk, use my arms. I couldn't even wash my face or feed myself. And I had to go through rehabilitation for 3 months to regain the use of my legs. After that, I gave up on my nursing dream,
Mhm.
and I just tried to be a good mom and a good wife after that. I was in my early 20s, and I figured that was all I could be. But then again, sickle cell hindered me in that area because I constantly was taken away from my husband and kids, getting shipped off in the middle of the night, waking up in crisis, and spending what began as 1 week as a child to 2 weeks to a month in the hospital at a time away from my family. So all of my dreams had been crushed.
What is amazing to me is that you obviously had a drive and a zest for life, even despite dealing with sickle cell. And I've heard you talk a lot about your faith. You know,
Yes,
you did, even though you suffered from the symptoms of the disease for years, you still went through wanting to be a cheerleader, wanting to play basketball, wanting to go to the Navy. Like, where does that drive internally come from? And why didn't, it sounds like a silly question, but why didn't, the pain and what you went through as a child crush that ability to kind of dream and think about what you wanted to do?
because I'm a woman of faith. My grandmother brought me up in the Church of God in Christ. So I believe that with God, all things was possible.
Come
All I
on
had
now.
to do was ask. So I held on to that. And as we say, he may not come when you want him, but he's on time. So I held on to that one day. I didn't know when, how, that I would be able to accomplish my dreams. It was times where I got tired um, because the pain was ravishing my body, and then you add on medications that make you extra tired. And I question, I'm like, God, I know you put me here for a reason. What is it? I know it's not just to suffer. And hearing people around me, like my Sunday school teacher, she said, Vicky, it's not just for you. What you're going through is going to
Mm.
help somebody else.